You're listening to the Lux Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should be living their best life, their Lux Life. The show is hosted by Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group, a premier national event planning company, and co-hosted by Shannon Richmond, the Vice President of the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of future episodes. The show is produced by 30A Media and is broadcast on your favorite podcast outlets, as well as YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TVs, and other major brand smart TVs.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner. Welcome to Lux Life Discovered. My guest today is Todd Anthony Tyler, and Todd does our Men's Quarterly segment. So Todd, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks very much, Rick. You know, I always love coming in and talking men's fashion with you.
It's always great because I know we're going to get great input, great insight, and some good pointers. So I'll let you begin with our spring-summer podcast. How's that?
Yeah, I thought this time an interesting take right from the beginning was a little bit, I actually got my wife involved a little bit. And I say, hey, look at the spring fashion trends for men. What do you think when you see, not only with your husband, but what do you think when you see men dressed on the street? Like, what do you react to? What do you respond to in what they're wearing, right? And I think maybe a number of followers would be interested in perhaps what women think about how they're dressing. Right. And I think a really interesting thing that she said was that she doesn't look for men that dress with perfection. She looks with intention. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. It was a really interesting idea because we're always trying to talk, make sure you put this tie with this shirt and make sure you do this and make sure you do that. But she was saying she sees it, which I assume other women may, and it would be great to have other women to chime in and comment here below. But it's interesting that she thought it was like, I see your intention. I see that basically I saw you put some thought into it and you tried. And where we went from there, okay. But I like the intention. And I thought that was a really interesting aspect.
That is a good point because I haven't thought about that as well. So it may not have to look perfect, but as long as they feel like the man has put some thought into it rather than just kind of putting on what someone told them to, then that's impressive. So, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that just leads into, just that a lot of times with men that I'm talking to about fashion, they get a little bit nervous because they say, hey, Todd, I don't really know anything about this. And I just like default to the t-shirt and jeans or literally I pick up whatever's beside my bed in the morning. And I just don't really have the time to think about it. And I just don't know much about it. So I just by default go away from it. And I think the idea again that, okay, we're not looking for perfection here. We're not saying, hey, for example, this kind of men's knit quarter zip sweater shirt is in style for spring, summer. You must wear that. Now I think that's not the idea. I think that's just introducing some style trends. And then from there, you had a little bit of thought about it. That's great. It's in the right direction. Which sort of does bring me to, though, that the quarter knit zip is a really hot item this summer. I have it here paired with a jacket just because up in this part of North America, it's still a little bit chilly. So I put a kind of a linen jacket with it. Which obviously works, but you can just do the knit sweater as well. It's a really hot item. Another thing that I thought as well, since I'm on the subject, is usually we speak about affordability, and sometimes men also think that, like, oh yeah, Todd, that I can't afford all these expensive suits, or I can't afford to change everything up every season, but I still want to look fashionable. So this kind of item definitely holds over to other seasons as well, and it's very affordable.
All right, so the sweater you could even wear later into the fall if you wanted to, bright color, of course, but you could just pair it with a heavier jacket, possibly, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's a great thing. Even for myself, I wasn't that much into the zip sweater until I saw it was kind of a trend for the 2026 spring summer season, and I really got into them because they're so versatile. It can be some like a classic versatile piece in your closet. Here I went with a cream color because it's very easy to mix and match with a cream color, but it is also sort of the tone of the season. We generally see that tone in the spring summer season. But yes, absolutely. Like you said, you can just roll up the sleeves with this, which interesting is another point that women do like rolled up sleeves, apparently. It shows confidence and masculinity. Uh, and you can then use it that way in a little bit warmer period of time, obviously with the zipper up or down a little bit. But then if you're going into the fall, winter season, you can layer it very easily. You can put a shirt and a tie under that and a jacket, and you're definitely looking sharp and staying warm.
Okay, good. Good. Let me ask you this too. Talking about your wife giving her input there. How, with your being the fashion guru, how does that come into play sometime? Like, do you have like the perfect look that you put together and she's like, I don't like it. What does that have?
No, seriously, that is a great question, because I wouldn't say we get into argument. We get into difference of opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, this is totally on trend. And she's like, yeah, but I just don't like it. And it doesn't look great on you. That part, and then it's great feedback, definitely great feedback. And I think that's also something we've touched on in other episodes, is that just because it's in trend doesn't mean it's maybe for you.
That's
So,
right.
for example, going for another spring summer trend here, prints and florals always seem to kind of go in and out and around with the spring summer season for men. Started maybe even 10 years ago, I guess, at least, when men were sort of more open to wearing that kind of thing with bright
Right.
colors and florals and whatnot. So this season we have like really big prints are in, and something that I kind of like. I've never honestly personally been to Hawaii, but I mean Fiji and places that I've traveled, that sort of tropical sense. So that Hawaiian shirt for me personally brings me good vibes, good memories, and a summertime feeling. So I like to wear that kind of shirt. My wife thinks it's garish and that it just doesn't work on me. So there's a good point there that you're saying that I pull out the Hawaiian shirt and she's like, no, I don't think so.
That's like, that's good for someone
You
else.
can sit in the backyard, maybe.
Right. She's like, you go out back and you can wear that all you want to, but we're not going out in public.
Yeah, exactly. So there is definitely, but that's a great part of the relationship, obviously, getting that feedback and getting other eyes on it, be it your wife or any other friend, getting other eyes on what you're wearing. The constructive feedback are always welcome.
Yeah. It's funny because we've been going through closets lately, and most of what I find that I really like, I'm such a creature of habit. My wife is like, you have like 12 of those. Decide which two you want to keep, get rid of the other 10. And I do find that colors, patterns, I'll go buy something and it's similar to what I already have, rather than stepping outside the box a little bit. So
yeah, I find myself also in that genre of thinking, a way of thinking. If I really ran you through my closet, you would, like my wife sometimes asks, you really need that many shirts, that many ties, that many jackets, and all the different tones and colors, because those ones look pretty similar. But I just find, yeah, no doubt, maybe take the spring, summertime as an opportunity to clean out your closet, for sure. I mean, no doubt you have to have a little bit more critical eye. I just always have a thought that, you know what, don't know, but one time I'm going to wear that with that jacket and that jacket. That's probably just a little bit of my own problem. But I would say that men who like to be fashionable, they do kind of fall into something they like and tend to repeat, though.
Oh yeah. We took some items to a thrift store this morning. And one thing my wife took, one of hers was this pink jacket that I absolutely love. And she's like, oh, I just think that always makes me look blah. And she said, there's only certain times a year I can wear that. And I'm thinking, oh, forget it. You put way too much thought into that. Just if you want to get rid of it, get rid of it. So, but it's amazing what all does come into play once you have something and you want to, like, not just discard it, but if you want to like upgrade something, there's a lot of thought that goes into it, because men get more attached to their clothes than women do. That makes sense. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would say so. That's very true. Because when I have a consultation with men that want to sort of, like you said, kind of upgrade their closet or up their game in the style sense, yeah, we're looking at a lot of similar items and a lot of things they don't want to let go of. Some things like those 80s rocker t-shirts that are probably collectibles items, things like that. I got it. That you need like 20 white t-shirts, with some of them are kind of on their way out. Definitely, we always see it. Could be using some upgrade in the underwear area as well. I mean, those things can move on. Those socks with the small hole, they can move on. Stuff like that. We do see that a lot with guys.
I'm just laughing because this goes back to conversations at the house recently. She's like, yeah, we won't go into it, but yeah, she's like, please throw those away. Whatever it is, socks or underwear. And she's like, no, not going to do it. What if you were in a wreck? What would you think? That's why she always tells me, if I was in a wreck and they had to see my underwear or my socks that I have on that day, what would I do? I'm like, well, I wouldn't think about that. And she's like, well, that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I say too. I said to I am a little bit of a, what's the word? Underwear connoisseur. I don't know if that's the right term, but I really like to wear nice underwear. But we have had that conversation and roundabout conversations with different people. And I did always think that, yeah, depending on what level of wreck we're talking about, I don't think I'm too worried about my underwear at the time. Maybe hopefully I'm still wearing underwear. Maybe hopefully they're not soiled, but that's about it.
No, so that's the fun thing that married couples can talk about. It's like things that you wouldn't talk about with your friend down the street necessarily, but with your spouse, it's like they can be so open and critical in ways that cut to the core that nobody else could get by with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on the other side of things, though, I do see my wife has a lot more shoes than I do.
But that's okay though, right? Yeah.
So that's another thing I do find with guys, though, because they don't pay so much attention to the shoes. They wear those same old ratty shoes over and over and over again. Don't give as much consideration. We've kind of touched on this before. Shoes is sort of a classic one that women always say, I look at a man and I see if he's put together by his shoes. And guys are like, do these shoes go with this? Oh, I'm just going with comfort. Oh, I'm not.
Right.
They don't look at the shoes as much. So that also translates to the closet, I find, is that he's got like maybe one or two runners. There are a few who are like runner shoe fanatics, of course. Yeah. But they're a general guy that I go in, they don't really pay much attention to the shoes, whereas they don't want to give up, that favorite leather jacket, or they have 4 that look the same. That kind of
right. Well, and shoes are so important in spring because in the colder months, I mean, it's pretty much basic. You've got different styles, but they all kind of look the same, just different shades of color. Spring, though, there can be a whole variety of shoes, and depending on where you are in the country or in the world, basically. But some things, say in Fiji or wherever, would not be as popular here, and vice versa. So it is something that men probably need to be more focused on, is their shoes, than any other time. Because what's your take on like the, not the mesh, but the woven shoes, that as opposed to like the leather? What are your thoughts on shoes in general, I guess? Like when
one thing I was just going to add on there is an interesting point that you made, is definitely consideration when I'm consulting where people live in the world, along with, are we talking about, some people bring me in, honestly, just say, hey, Todd, I'm going on vacation here and I'd like to dress a little better in my photos. Can you take a look at what I have and what I maybe should bring or add? Because traveling, of course, as I'm sure you know, there's only X amount of things you can bring. You have to be a little bit versatile. You have to make things that, I could wear this, with that. So that sort of doubles down on how many outfits you have without bringing a whole lot of things. And so that brings specifically a good point about the shoes, where you're going, what's the climate like, and spring, summer, or any warmer climate. Absolutely. You're talking about, okay, you're ditching the boots probably. Hopefully. And now we're talking about what's in style. Yeah. Certainly sandals are making they've always been sort of popular, but in particular, leather sandals are making a really big comeback. I think that's partially just like cotton and those sort of things. It's a real awareness about what you're putting on your body or what you're wearing around for 5, 6, 8 hours on your feet. So leather sandals definitely is something that's very popular this season, and you'll see which kind of goes along with boat shoes are making a big comeback.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Honestly, they're not those are one of those things that doesn't seem to work for me, but they're definitely a big comeback on boat shoes right now, and loafers as well. One thing I do like, loafers are a really big one. They're a little bit, tend to be a little heavier styling than we've had in the past, but loafers are a big one. And all of these shoes are, like, most people are looking at the textile as in being leather or, you know, something natural that you're going to be putting on your foot as opposed to plastics.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of things to consider that sometimes if you don't think about it, I mean, it's just like once you're aware of it, it's kind of like, I need some help with this, or, you know, I need more input or something, because it can be overwhelming. And I think, and maybe for guys, this may be more true than women. When it gets to that point, it's easier to go back to like being than trying to broaden your horizon. I know for
Yes,
me, that's true. Yeah.
no, that's true. That's also a very interesting thing when I first consult with anybody. You have to find kind of what their safe zone is,
Yeah.
and what they're willing to move out of and what they want to try, which I come back to. It seems my experience when people are going on vacation, they're a lot more open to I guess this could apply to a lot of things, but they're a lot more open to trying all kinds of different things,
Yeah.
and being more open about what they're going to wear as opposed to maybe their everyday.
Right.
But yeah, definitely guys tend to be more cautious. That's why I was mentioning before. I've seen it, ugh, I'm going to age me some, but like 30 years here, I guess, in overall fashion, where men wouldn't be wearing bright colors or hot pinks or lots of florals or things like that. And now it's much more open to exploring different color palettes and whatnot. And you see that as a trend in the season. Still, the individual male client is up to them about, you know, how far they want to take it or how much they want to explore the fashion sense.
Okay, that makes sense, and that's why you see a lot of people go on vacation, buy these clothes for vacation, shoes, whatever it may be, bright colored shirts and patterns, and then they come home and they go in their closet and may not see them again until next spring. You know,
Yes, yeah,
so
that's where they kind of go to stay, yeah, to maybe another vacation.
right, right,
But they had some, it's sort of like a clothing fling there. They went out, they wore this for a while, and then now I'm back home. That, yeah, I'm
yeah,
going back to my safe zone on clothing
oh, yeah,
choices.
yeah. But at least they broaden their horizon for a little bit, and that's the whole key to it. To realizing that clothing for men can be as you know, versatile as it is for women, because women are great about that. I mean, they'll try anything and they can pull it off and make it look great. Guys are just get wrapped up in, or I got speaking of myself then, get so wrapped up in just being conservative look and staying safe that you kind of hard to break that norm, I guess.
Right. I definitely, I mean, I'm not sure of the demographic overall of men that may be watching. Certainly, when I see a younger crowd, 20s or under, but say even 20s, they're much more, they're less conservative in general, for
Right.
sure.
That's true.
Which is great. I mean, they're obviously embracing a lot of bright colors and different styles. And I wouldn't even necessarily say perhaps a feminine direction, or I think just that they're less conservative with the choice of the patterns and hats that they wear and accessories that they wear. So that's kind of an interesting take on where fashion is going with the younger crowd. But
Exactly.
certainly when I'm consulting a little bit older gentlemen, yeah, there's only so much. Some are more open than others, but yeah, guys tend to be conservative, no
Oh,
doubt.
you brought out something too. I was going to ask you about too. Do you find as men get older, their choices are more limited? What's your thought on that? Because like with a young guy, you can see a young guy, especially a lot of these top fashion models are not necessarily at Fashion Week, but just like doing campaigns across the world, and they can pull off some of these looks that, you know, otherwise you would think that's not impressive, but it's like, dang, you know, but you know, you couldn't do it. You know, it's good for them in that environment, but yet it's like, I don't know. Do you think that they are limited as they get older?
Yeah, In a nutshell, yes. I mean, all those years that I was shooting fashion photography and shooting campaigns and editorials and the looks that we put together with the stylist, I mean, we knew we were being creative. We were telling a story. Some of those translate to everyday, and some of those can be pulled off by people in everyday. But that does sort of be a little more explorative, fashion sense wise, crowd of the younger crowd. As we get older, I think what it is with that conservative nature as well with men, but also I think realistically, you don't want to look foolish, right? I think that you want to see like, okay, the big wavy hair and the beanie cap and the oversized shirt and the baggy pants, that works for him.
But
But
it's not going to work.
you're like 55 now, 60, and you look like you're trying to be 22.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not working for you. That doesn't make you look stylish. That just makes you maybe look delusional. I don't know. But I mean, it just obviously. So that just means that as men tend to get older, yes, it tends to be a little less of a range. That, and I don't know, maybe that changes 20, 30 years from now. But currently, there's a little less of a range of outfits to play with. Now, some super fashionable, like 70-year-old men wearing the super fashionable, over baggy, flowing suits that are big trend right now. There's one Japanese couple in particular I see on social media that very, very fashionable on that fashion plate. Yes, okay, that works for them. But if we're talking about the everyday guy going to whatever general work that he's doing, wants to go out to a party or events or those vacations, or whether a family man or not, things do tend to be a little more limited and a little bit more conservative. So there we're just talking about more classic cuts, more classic looks, classic colors. And I think it comes all the way back around to that idea of intention. Does it look like you thought a little bit about what you put together? I think that's apparently to my wife, that's appealing to people. If you just look like you didn't really care and you didn't put any thought into it at all, I think that's not the message you want to send.
Well, then also something I have to realize too, and tell me if you think this is accurate or not, but what I have to realize too, first of all, 66, so I can't wear what a 22-year-old wears, which that's cool, but you don't want to, I don't want to be like, think I'm dressing like a 70 or 80-year-old, and nothing wrong with that. But you get what I'm saying. It's not cutting ages down. But then also, I'm not, 180 pounds and thin and as muscular as I want to be. But you have to realize, I'm a short, portly guy, and that affects the way I dress too and what I choose. And I think guys miss it there sometime as well.
Yes, definitely in the environment of all inclusiveness and the equality, we've kind of moved away a little bit from like, oh, well, if you're this stature and this shape, you should wear that. If you're this stature and this body shape, you should wear that. I think those classic things still kind of exist. I mean, they're in a sense physics of sorts. With you're wearing horizontal stripes or diagonal stripes or solid colors or patterns and how you blend them, they all can be put together in a way that best complements your overall body shape. Right. If that's a consideration for you. Obviously, some people, that's not a consideration for them, not a problem. But yes, you're absolutely right, I would say, in the sense that I still do, especially depending on the client, but we do take a look at your overall body shape, your height, stature, and how you want to look your best. Then we factor in, okay, these are some current trends to look fashionable. These are some classic looks. That's why it also happens, we spend some time trying things on. It's really that, trying things on, looking in the mirror. Some people are like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. Some other people are like, oh, yeah, I never thought I'd like to wear that, but that actually works for me.
Yeah, when you try it on, sometimes you see it on and you're like, hey, I would have never thought about this, but this actually looks good. And the other thing that I think is key to all of this is the confidence in wearing it. Because if you're not confident in what you're wearing, regardless of what it is, it's not going to come across like, it will come across as you being, unsure and kind of questionable why you're wearing it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And then interesting on that point of confidence. Like I mentioned earlier, I read recently that, and I didn't honestly know this before reading it, but I always kind of liked in a more sort of still suited up but casual look to roll up the sleeves. And apparently that is a sort of a sign of confidence, in particular that women seem to see in how men dress. So in that respect, if you have something that you're going to that you would like to walk in confidently but not be overdressed, there's little points like that you pick up, like, oh, rolling up my sleeves, that's a way to go. Another thing that was interesting, which we did touch on, but men seem to sometimes miss the mark on, is accessories. Definitely, my wife mentioned this. I've read before about how women perceive men dressing. They do, besides the shoes, take a look at your watch, take a look at the accessories that you put on. So that sort of intention again. Did you get the color palette right? Did you get the patterns right? Maybe not, but I like how you thought next level, like tried to put a nice watch on. You tried to put some extra accessories on that work with this look. That's something sometimes guys also miss out on or miss the mark on.
I'm bad on that part. I have not worn a watch, and I couldn't tell you how many years. It's probably been 40 years. And my wife always wants to buy me a nice watch. I'm like, I'll never wear it. And I guess sometimes I need to just put it on, even though I'm not going to look at it. But the only accessory I really wear is my wedding band. That's it. It's been on for 44 years. I was joking with somebody last week. If I ever take it off, it's got this groove around my finger. I mean, there's no way I could ever pretend I'm not a married man. So, because it's like a tree trunk, it's kind of like it's there. So,
yeah, mine is similar. I haven't had it off since we put it on. Yeah. I did. This is a side part you probably just want to cut out, but I just quickly tell you that I was doing the men's health cover several years ago now, but 15 years ago when we first got married, or just got married a year before. And they wanted me to take my wedding ring off, and I refused. And it's just like that kind of thing. I think some guys, like, they really, they like to keep that accessory on.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just part of who I am now. So yeah.
Yes.
And so,
but on the note of a watch, though, I do find it interesting. There's a huge watch culture of sorts. I'm sure you're already aware of that. It's a status symbol. It's like, I have the Porsche and the Rolex. I maybe don't have the Porsche, but I got the Rolex. Yeah. So men do use that as a status symbol. People still seem to notice it. But yeah, with digital phones, everyone's looking at the phone now. I think it's a little more like, oh, that's a beautiful piece and accessory, a little less of a timepiece, because people aren't really looking at it as much.
Plus, it gives that tan line too. You have to be careful with that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, well, good deal. Well, Todd, thank you for being with us again. It's always great to hear your insight and input with the fashion, because it makes me think about a lot of things that I would normally not think about. So I'm gonna have to up my game, especially, I know we're gonna meet in person someday, and I'm gonna be really like stressed big time. So you're gonna be like, oh, you wore that. Okay, good. No, I'm just kidding with you. So,
it's okay. I'll tell you what you did right or wrong. I'll bring my wife, and she'll definitely tell you.
just nip that in the bud right in the beginning, and then we'll have a good time. Yeah, it's like, if you dress like this, then I would have thought you were dressing with intention. I can hear your wife saying that now, so that's gonna be good. No, but we're gonna put your information back on the screen, and that way, anybody, because you're really open to anybody contacting you with questions and asking for advice, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a passion of mine. I love it. Anybody who has any questions or any thoughts, I'm not even talking about something that's a paid consultation. I even take questions and direct messages on Instagram or whatever. I like to help out guys that might find themselves a little bit lost on upping the style game. And maybe if I can give a few pointers, I'm more than happy to do that.
All right, good deal. Always great to have you with us. We look forward to the next segment with you. But so thank you for joining us for another episode of Lux Life Discovered. We will see you soon.
Check out Lux Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram, and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Lux Life Discovered.